Hi, I'm Revathi Kant, Chief Design Officer at Titan. I've had this wonderful opportunity of working with COG on two projects. One was for Mia, our jewelry brand for working women, and our luxury brand Zoya. In fact, it was a wonderful experience working with the COG team and Rajesh himself. I think the whole story, they also brought in a lot of creativity, creative workshops, painted the picture of the life of a Zoya consumer. So I guess this agency also, they are also multidisciplinary. They have, I guess, researchers, they are people who have a worldwide view of things, they have a point of view on a certain things, ability to understand the insights. I think all of that comes together to help us carve out a strategy which is very clear. I love the clarity in terms of what they gave us, and it was indeed a pleasure working with Rajesh and his entire team. I think the uniqueness comes from their own ability to understand the consumers, their ability to influence us and make us understand their point of view. So it is not just what comes from consumer research, it is also about various associated things. It could be the cultural part of it, the social aspect, the various other things which influences our lifestyle. It could be trends, it could be lifestyle, bringing all of it together and coming up with an option which kind of possibly could be a key lead in designing the strategy. I think that's really their strength. No, I think Mia, we had a very clear-cut proposition built in. So I think it was great. It was the way we looked at the project. So people around in the company are very happy, and we have even implemented that as part of our brand strategy. So I think it was a very successful project which we have taken further, and we have even implemented it. Zoya, it is still work in progress, so I would like to wait and then before I comment. I think they are a bunch of people who are very honest. So they come up with findings what the consumers are saying, and they don't try to make it up and make you feel good. So they're very truthful with the data. Second is, I think they are able to analyze the data and draw in insights. I think that is for me a very critical thing. They're able to draw in what is relevant for that particular brand, for that particular TG whom we are targeting. They're able to cull out those insights. That is the second thing. Third, they have the ability to influence because they're pretty confident about what they are talking about. They're able to bring in various other aspects which possibly as a client we're not so familiar with and put it all together on the table. And lastly, they definitely have the power of influence and to take the whole strategy forward. And I think great set of people to work with. I think Rajesh does that very well, and because of his in-depth knowledge, he is able to connect with senior leadership very well in any organization. And I think his convincing talk is really the starting point. And because of his own personal knowledge and personal equity, I think it really helps COG to position the way they are positioned today. I really think they are about human-centered strategy because they start from the consumers. They don't start with just understanding what we have and come and give us some jargons. They start really at the ground zero level. They just go on, meet the consumer. I think the first step, they convince themselves whether what they are going to tell us is the truth or not. So since they start from a very basic level of talking to the consumer, it is the human understanding. It is a very human-centered approach to building things. So if it works for you, because if you understood your consumer well, if you know where they are headed, I think that's where the strategy is always headed, and that's something where they are able to do well. I think they bring in a lot of art, music, architecture, and various other elements and marry it with the insight which they have drawn from the consumers and research. So it builds a holistic picture of a consumer's life, because we as consumers are exposed to multiple things in our life. The trends affect us and how we react to a particular music or what's happening. So I feel they bring in a lot of creative elements rather than the numbers and all of that, to build a holistic kind of a view of things. So I think that the whole their exposure to creativity, I think, is far higher, which is what they try to bring in building the strategy for specific brands. See, I find the key traits, I think they are intelligent, they are also creative, they are also innovative. So I don't know why I'm thinking of Einstein at this point in time, because of his long hair and creativity, because of his intelligence, because of his ability to look into the future, I guess. Yeah.